ArtRage and create some amazing images. Please welcome to the Spotlight stage American landscape artist, Mr. Charles Muench. Charles.
Hey Phil, how you doing? Well, as Phil mentioned, I'm a traditional landscape painter. Now I paint the medium of oil paint. Oil paint technology goes back over 500 years. Basically, I got a stick, I got animal hair on that stick, I dip it into minerals that have been ground in a plant oil. With Intel's microprocessing power, I can take some of that 13th century technology and bring it to the 21st century.
You've been able to do some amazing things throughout your career in terms of capturing the essence of what the landscape means to you, a very visceral connection. Using ArtRage software, how has that informed your artistry?
Well, what I find it helpful is it's just a great program. I could do things that I can't do in traditional oil paint. I could do things that I can do in traditional oil painting.
Outstanding. Explain to us exactly what it is. What does the software do for you that has been probably the most surprising?
Well, it's been the most surprising is the ability, its ability for me as an oil painter to replicate oil paint. What we have?
Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. I can take a blank canvas and basically use medium that I wouldn't normally use in traditional oil to start developing a traditional oil painting. I've used a crayon feature, I've used airbrush feature, I've used a different multimedia which wouldn't happen in real world painting to develop an underlaying painting for what would eventually become a far more finished and far more refined oil painting.
So, I mean, your inspiration, I mean, obviously, I mean, you live, I'm so jealous because of where you live. You know, you live in a beautiful part of the country, and a lot of your inspiration comes from that.
Yeah, exactly. I constantly derive inspiration from the landscape that surrounds me. The Eastern Sierra, the High Plains Desert of the West, the rolling oaks of California, even the people walking through here. I think, boy, it'd be fun if there wasn't so many people talking to me as I demo. I could sit there and do a little painting of everybody as they move through.
Well, those landscapes, I mean, they possess vivid colors. And something that's amazed me about this week when we've been talking about your art is that you can actually replicate those colors using ArtRage software.
Yeah, exactly. It has, again, so many powerful features. And again, you mentioned earlier about, what is it that I particularly like about this? Well, as much as I like the things that it can do to mimic traditional oil, the things that that traditional oil painting can't do impress me even more. Every beginning painter has the same thing, the same fear of trying. Just to overcome the fear of a new medium. Because when you're working on something that's took a lot of time, about 7 hours worth of work here, and if I were to leave the room to go take a phone call, to go do some business, and my little wee nephews were to roll in the house and do this while I'm gone, well, there's going to be some butts whooped. But the thing about the computer, there's always the undo button.
The undo button.
That will remove any fear from a beginner.
Wouldn't you love to have that?
Exactly.
The all-in-one is an amazing piece of software, but if you could, Charles, could you actually show us how you can dip, onto the palette and actually create images there with the colors?
Sure, exactly. When again, as a professional artist, one feature I might find myself wanting to do is deciding the compositional arrangement of those sheep. But what if I decided what if I decided I wanted to move things around a bit? What if I want to experiment with simply taking those out? Get a process in traditional oil painting. One, it's going to take a while to make that decision if that's something I want to do. If I decide to, oftentimes the decision you make isn't always the right one. And again, in this case, I look back and I zoom back, as opposed to standing back, I can just zoom out and I think, no, it's like a musical, those sheep are almost like musical notes, and then that coda, those end sheep actually do have a compositional purpose. I don't want to turn this into electron composition, I'll put you all to sleep. But, so I can bring it back.
Wow. How has it improved the quality of your work, Charles, this software?
Well, again, what it opens the door to is more experimentation. I can decide, does this need to be a vertical painting? Should I, should I emphasize the sky? Should I emphasize the foreground? I can do multiple studies in a relatively short period of time. And so when I do walk in the studio with the 13th century technology, I have a lot of information. I'm already that much farther ahead of the game.
You know, you just mentioned walking into the studio. I know you and I had talked earlier about what's happening in so many schools in terms of cutting back on art programs.
Yeah, exactly. And
so what do you see the future benefit being with this type of software powered by Intel?
Well, exactly what we were talking about. This is it's a great learning tool. I can't, again, mention my nephews earlier. I can't wait for them to play with this. Any 7-year-old is going to have a field day with this. And again, with potential cutbacks in education, the cost of materials, I'd much rather see kids playing on this than having an art program cut.
Yes.
This you can learn watercolor, you can learn oil paint, drawing, and if I were a teacher with a class full of 5-year-olds, the idea of the mess you'd have to clean up, this thing's a godsend.
If, just a final thought, how easy is the all-in-one to use?
Well, again, I've been using it for about 3 weeks.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very easy. When they invited me to do this, they wanted to show how a traditional artist can pick up this software. It's very intuitive to use. They sent me the wonderful all-in-one system,
yes,
which is quite sweet, and the program, but no instructions. Actually, you know what the hardest part was? Figuring out how to turn the darn thing on. Seriously, I'm too embarrassed to call. There's a little button on the side. But the program itself is easy. Once I got just basically got rolling with it. Now I'm making little nuanced discoveries as I go along, but very easy to pick up.
What do you anticipate doing this year with this?
Sorry?
What do you anticipate doing this year in 2012?
A boatload more paintings.
Yeah, outstanding. Exactly. My friend, thank you so much for your artistry. Charles Muench, ladies and gentlemen. Well done, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Cool or what? Yes?